What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to Nintendo Land, and I just got out of the Super Mario Galaxy movie. Now, I'm telling you right away, there will be no spoilers in this video. This is just my initial thoughts and what I thought about the movie, keeping it just pretty surface base level stuff. In the next couple of days, I will post a second video that dives deeper in the film, talking about all the spoilers and stuff, so giving you guys at least a day or two to watch the movie. But yeah, how did I feel about the Super Mario Galaxy movie? Well, real quick, before we get started, make sure you leave a like and subscribe. We are still trying to reach our goal of 400,000 subscribers. We are super close, so if you're watching this video and not yet subbed, let's see how many people we can get to subscribe from this video alone. Thank you so much for tuning in, and let's dive into my thoughts on the movie. So the first thing I want to start off with is let's talk about the characters, and we'll kind of just go from category to category as I talk about this movie, but the characters were all great. I don't really have an issue with any of them. Lots of the complaints were mostly with Rosalina and Yoshi that they weren't in this movie enough. I did not think that was the case. I felt like Yoshi was definitely in this movie enough, and I felt like Rosalina was fine for me. I know some people will be a little upset that she's not a, super main focus. She does get kidnapped, and it's kind of just like gone for a while, but she does have a lot of scenes, and she does make a good appearance. Now, you gotta remember also in the Galaxy games, she wasn't even in Galaxy 2. She was really just like a cosmic clone, and in Galaxy 1, she was mostly just the beginning and the end, and just sitting there in the front of the hub world. So I get it, you know what I mean? And she's not meant to be the main focus of a Galaxy story. It's about Mario and his journey throughout the different galaxies and him helping Rosalina. But yeah, I just thought I'd put that in there. But all the other characters, really well. Star Fox, an extreme highlight of this movie. I can't believe all the stuff that they did for him. It made me really happy as a Star Fox fan, and after watching this, it makes me want to go back and replay all the Star Fox games. It was like literally one of those. It was so good. I was like a little fan kicking my feet, and I'm sure none of the kids had any clue what they were showing on screen with the Star Fox scenes, but I was just like, oh my gosh, loving everything, just eating it all up completely. But yeah, Star Fox really stole the show for a lot of the movie. I do not think he was in the movie more than Rosalina. I've heard some people saying that. I don't think that's the case. I do think he had a big portion right in the second act, but he did take a back seat towards the end. He kind of just, had this one role, and then he was kind of gone. He was meant to be in the plane. He stays in his plane for a good portion of the movie. So I don't think he feels weird. A lot of people even said he was shoehorned in. I don't think that was the case either. I felt like he fit. I felt like he fit perfectly, and he played the role that he was supposed to play, and I really liked it. It's a cool way to add another non-Nintendo character into this movie, and I say another because there's another non-Nintendo character we knew about. Nintendo gave us a little snippet of all the characters in the movie, and these characters popped up. I'm not going to say it here just in case you didn't see that little snippet, but it probably won't surprise you, but it was still really cool to see them there. Bowser Jr. was great. He had a lot of good heartfelt moments with his dad that I really enjoyed. I did not like his eyes, though. Those red eyes really, it bothered me in the movie a lot, but I liked everything else about him. I liked the voice direction, I liked the way he acted, and I really love how instead of being this kind of resentful son since his dad hasn't been around for a while, he just loves Bowser. Like, he absolutely loves his dad with no hate at all in his heart for him. He just misses his dad and wants to be, rekindled with him again and just rule the galaxy with him. Bowser was weird. It's hard to really get into this without spoiling it, so I'm not going to say anything besides he has these weird directions with his character that just doesn't quite make sense and really fit him as a character in some things that they do towards the middle and ending of the film. Like I said, it's just impossible for me to talk about this right now without spoiling anything, so I'm just going to leave it at that. It's just, he has a weird character arc. But yeah, all the other characters are great. I feel like Toad is kind of sidelined in this movie, but overall, I think the biggest surprise was one of the lore drops with some of the characters in this movie. I was not expecting, and I was like, wow, they're changing lore that's been established in the games for years now. And it makes me question if they're going to change lore in the games. I was truly surprised that they went with something that they did. I can't believe it. Another thing that was kind of a letdown was there's not many other characters. I thought with them showing Star Fox this early, it clearly meant there were some bigger characters that they were hiding. Definitely temper your expectations because there's not much. Most of the characters that we know of, you see already, and that's really about it, which was strange to me because I'm like, okay, and that actually made me upset that they showed us Fox. I mean, if Fox was a surprise, it would have been so freaking nuts, man. And he definitely could have been a surprise. This is one character that could have been a perfectly good surprise, and they just did not need to say anything. Also, Honey Queen is barely in this movie. I can't believe they even told us like Issa Rae was playing her because I was like, what's the point? she maybe gets a minute or two of screen time and never seen again for the rest of the movie. It made no sense. It was just like Honey Hive Galaxy itself was there for just the smallest little plot point and then just gone before you even blinked. Now, since we're on the topic of Honey Hive Galaxy, let me talk about the name of the movie itself. Super Mario Galaxy movie. Yeah, this is not a Mario Galaxy movie. I mean, I feel like it's in the name simply because of the music, which I'll get into in a second, but also the fact that they're in space often. That's about it. You might be like, that's what Galaxy is, about Mario in space, but there's like hardly any Galaxy references. I mean, there's some small Easter eggs of things you can see in the background of some scenes and stuff, but for the most part, it's a pretty conservative movie when it comes to Galaxy stuff. They really do not show a lot of Galaxy. In fact, I don't think any of the characters fight a single Galaxy enemy or Galaxy boss in the entire runtime of this movie. Now, you might see some enemies like you'll see some Octoombas and Octo Guys, and you'll see like a Goom Beetle, and that's like really about it. In fact, they didn't add many new enemies at all to Bowser's Army. It was still just like Hammer Bros, Koopa Troopas, and Goombas, which I was like super surprised. Like now with the addition of maybe some Chain Chomps, like I was like, what? Where's the Galaxy enemies? Mega Leg is literally the only one, and it's just a big robot that Bowser Jr. and Kamek controls. In fact, Kamek even gets taken out of this movie pretty quickly. In fact, Mario and the gang don't really even fight any enemies. They're really just kind of going on an adventure and then fighting Bowser and Bowser Jr. at the end. Strange. And the same thing goes for galaxies. I think the only galaxies that are shown in this movie is the Gateway Galaxy, Honey Hive Galaxy, and that's literally it. I'm not joking. Now, Peach makes a reference to the Space Junk Galaxy, but it literally just looks like an asteroid field, like one of those early levels in Star Fox 64. That's it. I'm like genuinely positive. I mean, unless I go back, maybe I missed something, but it did not look like the Space Junk Galaxy to me. Yeah, it was kind of like they just took a batch of random levels and slapped them into this movie, like they were just jumping from level to level from different games. It didn't really feel like they were going to new galaxies and flying around space. I'll also say, of course, just like the first movie, there's really no story. I think there's less of a story here than the first movie. Just kind of things are happening. It is definitely a jiggle keys in front of your face. Ooh, look at the Easter egg point and stuff. There's not much of a story. There's not even much moments in this movie where I felt like a heartfelt moment or really came out of the movie taking anything away from this. You know what I mean? Or, you know, like the first movie, it had the luxury of being the first Mario movie. You know, I'm not talking about that live action one in the 90s, but the first real animated Mario movie, and it was just special because of that. Everything that they showed was special about that. The origin story for Mario and Luigi and how they get to the Mushroom Kingdom, all that's gone now. They're here in the Mushroom Kingdom. Everybody's here. This is the second movie. You know, that kind of first time watching a Mario movie in a theater is gone now. So now you're expecting a little bit of a plot, and there's really nothing here. I mean, there is genuinely no story going on. They're just on an adventure trying to find Bowser and Bowser Jr. to save Rosalina. That's literally about it. I don't think the pacing is as bad as people make it out to be, though. There's not like nothing but montages of stuff happening. There's only like 1 or 2 montages, and it's not as crazy as you think it is. Like, I was actually hoping there were more montages of like different galaxies and stuff, but no. In fact, the first half of the film moves along pretty well. There's slow moments between the Mario Brothers and Bowser and Bowser Jr., even with Rosalina and her Lumas, even with Mario and Peach. There are a lot of like slower sections and stuff. So I don't know where these people are coming from saying like the pacing is unbelievably fast. Now, towards the end of the movie, it does get faster. The reason I say this is because the climax and the final scene, the third act, just kind of came out of nowhere. It was just like, oh, that's it? And it wasn't because the pacing was so quick in the beginning. It was more along the lines of, that's it? I felt like the film should have just been longer. Like, hey, there's not more galaxies that we're doing. There's not, you know, more space exploration. We're already fighting Bowser and Bowser Jr. This is it? Oh, wow. And then it just kind of wraps up. That's it. That's the end of the movie. Like, what? The ending wasn't bad. It was pretty cool. The fighting was really good. And I'll also say the fight scenes throughout this movie are all really well done. But yeah, it was just like, here's the ending. It was a pretty cool fight, but then it was just kind of over. And it was handled in a weird way. Like I said, it's just so hard to get into this without talking about spoilers. So I'll just say the ending was a mixed bag for me. It was good, but it could have added more. I'm sorry, like I said, I just can't talk about the ending. That's gonna have to be for a future video. But yeah, pacing was fine. It wasn't crazy until the very end, and the ending was a little bit of a mixed bag for me. I do want to jump back real quick to when I was talking about how this didn't feel like Galaxy. I will say the only things that do feel like Galaxy is like the very beginning of Super Mario Galaxy and the end where Rosalina's traveling to the center of the universe for that final level. That's about it. Those two scenes. And it's like the two only cutscenes of the Mario Galaxy game. Besides like the really sad one with the Luma. Don't worry, I'm not spoiling anything because that's not here. You don't even have that. I'm telling you, there's really no heartfelt stuff. The game has more story. The game had more heart, in my opinion. But it's not to say this movie wasn't fun. I know I'm kind of bashing on it. The movie was a lot of fun. There are lots of Easter eggs. I do not feel like they're plastered wall to wall the way reviews said. I feel like all the Easter eggs are actually implemented really well. And they fit the scenes that they're in. It doesn't feel like just slop on the screen. I'm glad with that. In fact, from what I could see so far, it doesn't look like it's anywhere near as many Easter eggs as the first movie had. I mean, I remember sitting for days trying to dissect all the clips that I took on my phone there in the theater. I took more clips again, and I'm looking through them, and I'm like, there's some Easter eggs, but nowhere near as deep cut and as many as there were spread out across the first film, where like every background scene had something to point out. Something else I'll say is that there could have been more power-ups. I feel like most of the power-ups that we've seen was stuff that we've already seen. You know what I mean? Like, it's stuff in the trailers, and there's a couple new ones that weren't shown off, but just like I said with characters as well, there's not a lot that they didn't show us already that happens in this movie. I'd say about 75% of this movie was literally stuff from the trailers. I mean, literally, if you didn't watch any trailers or any media or marketing from Nintendo with this movie or from Illumination, you're going to go in this movie thinking like, oh my gosh, what is it's going to be crazy for you. But Nintendo showed us way too much, and they have a problem doing that. They had like 3 Nintendo Directs for this thing. They absolutely did not need to do that. They should have just left it off with like 2 trailers and then, you know, maybe like a final like montage or marketing stuff. But yeah, they just went too far. I think we had a total of 4 or 5 trailers with like the Super Bowl trailers and stuff. It was just too much. And yeah, that's how I felt with the movie. Like I said, I feel like 75% of the film was just like, yep, that was in the trailer. Yep, this was part of the trailer. Yep, I know what's about to happen here. This is part of the trailer. It got kind of annoying. One of the best characters in this whole movie is whoever composed the music. I know lots of this is just Koji Kondo remakes and remixes, but oh my gosh, dude, there's so many Super Mario Galaxy notifs and like little themes that you'll hear, little jingles. I couldn't even write them all down. There's so many. I mean, genuinely, this was one of my favorite parts. Most of the emotion and anything that I felt in this movie came through because of the music. When you get into some of those sentimental areas, like you see Rosalina in the library, you know, reading her storybook, you already know what's going to play, and it's going to hit you hard. And there's just a lot of these little moments from all these little character introductions. You'll be like, oh my gosh, that's his theme from Super Mario Galaxy playing. I love the music in this film. Also, do not worry, there is no licensed music this time around, just Mario music. Also, might I add, I have absolutely no clue what these critics are saying. Maybe they're just old grumpy men that don't like humor. But dude, this movie had me laughing so much. Almost every scene had me giggling or cackling at some stupid joke or some stupid thing that a character will say or do. This movie was funny, dog. I don't care. Like, maybe I'm just a man-child and I'm a big jokester in real life, so anything would make me laugh for the most part. But dude, I was just laughing at almost every character. There was so many funny scenes. But overall, I did enjoy this movie. I think I gave the first movie around an 8.5 to a 9, probably around a 9. I was so stoked and came out the theater so happy with that one. This one I give about a 7 or a 7.5. Yeah, a little lower. I don't know. I came out the theater still happy, but not as jolly and mind-blown as I was with the first film. Like I said, I think that first film had that, you know, advantage of just being the first animated Mario film ever. So, like, it was just, like, my childhood came true. This time, I wanted a little bit more from them, and I don't know. I feel like maybe Galaxy wasn't the movie they should have done right now. They should have taken their time to integrate these new characters into something like a Super Mario World movie, or something like a Super Mario Bros. 3 movie, or a Sunshine-themed one, or shoot, even Odyssey probably should have been in a movie form before Galaxy, because now I'm like, okay, you're going to be kind of backtracking. I'll also say there's 2 post-credit scenes. One of them is a throwaway scene with nothing, but the second one actually does give you something to wait for. That's all I'll say. But yeah, it wasn't anything like mind-blowing. It's just something that I'm like, yep, that makes sense. But overall, like I said, that's just kind of like how this whole movie went. There was nothing really mind-blowing that happened. It was just kind of like, yep, I expected all this stuff. You know, there was a couple small surprises towards the end, but for the most part, I was just like, yep, expected. It's a fun watch that's over before you know it, but I absolutely can see why critics tore this thing up, because there's not a lot of movie here. It's just a bunch of, like some people put it, cutscenes to video games just tossed together. Like you're watching someone play 3D Mario in front of you, which, you know, for me, that's fine. I want my 3D Mario, so I was fine with that. So yeah, if you could just turn your brain off and want to have some fun, you're going to have a good time. Just don't expect anything super crazy out of this, or too much galaxy, which I know is weird. But let me know down below what you thought of the movie once you watch it, and please no spoilers down in the comments, at least for this video. We will open spoilers for the next one that I do. But thank you so much for tuning in. Make sure you leave a like and subscribe before you head out, and I hope you all have a blessed day. See you guys.